say it's the most powerful metaphor in life.
Everyone and everything is frequency, and therefore everyone and everything has a song.
Every cell actually has a song or a sound it makes.
Everybody's voice is medicine. We've somehow been told that either we're not enough, our voice isn't good enough, or we should be quiet, and our voices have gotten shut down. The sound, music, have the capacity to shift the three-dimensional reality that we exist in.
This is for you personally, and it's some of the most inexpensive therapy you can give yourself.
Welcome to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Please join us on our mission to better a billion brains. Enjoy the episode and remember to share it with your family and friends.
Hey, welcome back to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. And what we're talking about here is unlocking your soul song. So listen up. She's going to teach us how to tune our frequency, activate our voice, and step into our purpose. Who I'm talking to is Marni Mae. Marni, welcome back to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I know you've been on once before.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I know we have some changes now. People, when this airs, they should be able to go in and find your sessions on the BrainTap app where you're teaching people to find their soul sound. And actually, you also have another course coming up. So maybe tell us a little bit about basically how you came up with this soul song, and then tell us a little bit about your course.
Thank you so much. I would love to. So soul songs were something that came about starting 5 years ago. I was deep on my medicine journey path. I was working with a group in Tulum, Mexico, on something called the Camino Rojo, or the Red Path, which is an indigenous tradition that includes different ceremonies from sweat lodges or temazcals to vision quests, which is going in our case, into the forest for 4 days with no water or food and being in deep prayer, along with other rituals and things that we did. And after a vision quest, all of a sudden I started going around people and hearing music around them. And I think I've always interpreted life through music, but at that point, it became clear to me that everyone and everything is frequency, and therefore everyone and everything has a song. And so when I started hearing these songs and started sharing them with people started to experience kind of psychedelic moments when they would receive their song. And the feedback and what I've been learning about these songs is that they're tuning forks for our soul. Each one of us is frequency, and we each have a unique frequency. We're here to contribute to the universal song. And so these soul songs help retune us, because if we're instruments in this universal orchestra, we get detuned sometimes. So the soul songs retune us to that unique frequency we're here to bring into the world, which in turn activates our message, because each of us has a message and medicine to share. So that message gets activated because, like radio waves, our message exists on these frequencies. So when we start resonating at a frequency of the message, we start to hear it and it comes through us and we embody why we're here. So that's what soul songs are, and it's my privilege to be able to hear them. What's that?
Because I don't know if I shared with you, but they found out that every cell actually has a song or a sound it makes. And then together we harmonize. Neuroscience has now proved this, that our body makes a harmonic sound. And that's part of what keeps all our cells together and what we do. So you picked up on it intuitively, but neuroscience is catching up like it's doing with everything else. It's finding out all these things, proving out all these things people see. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the course and how people can, of course, they can listen to some sessions on BrainTap and get that information there as kind of a primer. But they want the whole enchilada. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be sharing and when it's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that in the same way that we're frequency and we have different gifts to offer into the world, that everybody's voice is medicine. Whether it's their speaking voice, their singing voice, or how they're going to share and communicate the message and the gifts that they have to the world, that expression is critical. And for so many of us throughout our lives, we've somehow been told that either we're not enough, our voice isn't good enough, or we should be quiet, and our voices have gotten shut down. I haven't encountered anybody yet that I've spoken to who's like, no, I've never experienced being in a situation where I thought like I should say something and didn't held back. Like everybody has had that moment where it's like, wow, I know I have something to contribute here, but some story, some force keeps us from sharing that voice. Whether that's in professional contexts, whether it's in relationship, or it's sharing why we're here, knowing what that message is and communicating and expressing it. Our voices have gotten shut down so often. And so right now, especially at this like astrological time between now and the end of February, many of us who are what I would call change agents, light workers, committed to shifting the paradigm of the world, we're being asked to step into our gifts and share our voices really loudly. So I designed Voices, a course that's 6 weeks and 6 modules to work through the different limitations and beliefs that we hold that hold us back from sharing our voices. And we use the concept of soul songs to come together in community to heal and to elevate. So essentially, it's a group of people coming together for 6 weeks. Each week, we find a new community soul song. Because in the same way that our bodies are harmonizing within ourselves, when we get around other people, we start to harmonize and create new songs with them. So this course is bringing those people together so that we can share our medicine with each other through music and bypass the conscious mind to get to the subconscious mind so that we can start to really resonate with our message and each feel empowered and confident to share our voices. So that's Voices.
Yeah, yes, and if you have a BrainTap, we're going to be encoding those guided imagery that Marni makes into the BrainTap app, so you'll be able to use your headset and really integrate that lesson and get your voice humming and singing around.
I'm so excited for that. So we spoke about this the other day, but this isn't just work that gets to happen like one session, you're done, and then you go and your voice is activated for the rest of your life. We're always getting it. We never get it. Right? So we're always evolving. And so there's always deepening that gets to happen. And to be able to infuse the healing frequencies and the algorithms from BrainTap with the work that we're doing in the course to really get in there and help people to shift, it's going to be incredible. I'm so excited.
I know you were at Brain Camp this year, and people really appreciate what you did there. So, you can do this as a group, a community. We're going to have those links below, and you can be on there and share. You'll see me on there. I'm looking forward to activating my soul song. I wasn't able to be at the event because of health issues, so here I am. I'm ready to roll. Now, let's talk a little bit about music, because you say it's the most powerful metaphor in life. Tell the listeners a little bit about what you mean by that, and how can people use music as a tool for their own transformation?
Oh, thank you for that question. I do. I believe that music is both the most powerful metaphor for life and tool for transformation. So anything that we do can be a lens through which we learn about ourselves and life, and we use it as a metaphor for life and uncovering the mysteries of life. Now, in this particular instance, I like to use music because concepts like harmony, frequency, resonance, these are all musical terms, but if I look at it through the lens of life, it really is applicable. So for example, the fact that everybody is a song, and that when we're in tune with our unique frequency, we start to resonate with other people's experiences that are here to support us, and then we start to co-create and harmonize with them. That's one example where we can use music as a metaphor for understanding our lives. Mm-hmm. Another one is why I think people love harmony. Like harmony, there's something about harmony that just makes, at least for me, it makes me feel really good when I hear it. And I believe as a metaphor for life, it's the representation of an ideal scenario, that there are unique parts, like there are unique people. And when those unique parts come together in resonance, they create this beauty. And when individuals come together with other people that resonate, we start to harmonize, and we can create not codependence, not avoidance, but this interdependence. And I believe that all of us are on some level looking for belonging, and that's why harmony speaks to so many of us. This can be applied anywhere, right? Like if you're dealing with something and you want to look at it through the lens of a song, through rhythm, through harmony, through whatever it is, it's possible. And it helps me to deepen my understanding of life when I understand music.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. When we think about frequency now, that's one of my keywords. I love frequencies. I love that everything we do is light, sound, and vibration. It's all frequency based, whether it be light or sound, or everything in the known universe is vibrating and teeming with energy and frequency. So how does somebody know when they're out of tune with this frequency and in their life, and how does it look getting back into alignment?
Yeah. So being in tune or out of tune with your unique frequency often looks like feeling like you're up against it, right? So if we're in tune, some people might call it we're in flow. Things start to become easier. And that doesn't mean if someone's in tune that there's no adversity. Like life is going to life. But how quickly, how resiliently can we bounce back? And there's a concept of anti-fragility, which is not only how quickly can you bounce back from adversity, but how can you use it to propel you forward? So in this case with resonance, when we're in resonance and alignment with our frequency, the ability to navigate adverse situations not only is quick, but it's actually propelling us forward. Additionally, we start to notice that opportunities, people, experiences, events start to flow and come into our orbit to help harmonize with us and to start to elevate our purpose. Because like I said before, genuinely believe that everyone is here with medicine to share in this world. Everyone is here with a gift or a purpose. And so when we're in alignment with why we're here, things flow so that we can start to have the impact we're here to have. And the way that we can use music to get into alignment, music is, like you said, it's frequency. Everything is frequency. So music embodies the emotions and experiences that we're looking to have or that we have had. That's why when you're sad and you put on a happy song, all of a sudden it's inevitable. You have to shift. Like that music is shifting your frequency. And so that is the power of music to actually shift our physical state. And I'll give you an example from my own personal life. This was before I was really in tune with my voice. I was rejected from every singing group in high school. And so I had this belief that I couldn't sing. And I was being mentored by a medicine woman in Ecuador who took me in. She saw me on a retreat and said, I see you. You got this shamanic thing going on. Come live with me. We'll activate it. And I was like, okay. So then she started to invite me into births because she was a midwife. She is a midwife. She invited me into this birth with her, and this young woman was so scared. And she was an indigenous woman, and they tend to have children younger, so she had no idea what was going on. And Mama Rosa looked at me and she said, you have to sing to her. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I said, all right, I trust you. So I started to sing. The next day I checked in on the woman and the baby, and she asked me to sing to the baby again. And she said, when you sang, it took away the pain. And so when the pain went away, I recognized that it wasn't just my voice. It was the power of music and frequency to shift our reality. It's extraordinary. We can literally be in one state and it can take us into a totally other state because everything is frequency. And you're talking about light and sound frequency. My personal belief, and I believe science will back me on this, is that this three-dimensional world that we're existing in, it's made up of when light and sound come together, we experience this three-dimensional world. And so sound, music, have the capacity to shift the three-dimensional reality that we exist in. And that's how we can use music to get into alignment with our frequency by starting to listen to music that feels resonant with you. There's not one size fits all or one kind of music that works for everyone, but when you listen to music that resonates with you, it brings you back to your unique frequency. And then, of course, there are different healing frequencies like the ones that you're putting into the BrainTap app and ones that I put into my music at Sisters Divine, which are specifically targeting different energy centers or chakras, like the solfeggio frequencies that specifically target different parts of ourselves to bring us into resonance and attunement. But like I said, everyone's unique. It's what's resonating with you, what makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's true. So the people that want to take it up a level, right, is their own voice. We were talking about, I wrote a book back in the 90s called The Power of Your Voice for therapists. And of course, it's really outdated. Don't go look for it. It uses cassettes and things on it. But you're talking about people using their own voice and why that matters. So why do so many people struggle with their own voice, and how do you get them past that negative belief they might have about their voice and how to use it?
One of the most common challenges that I'll hear is some level of resistance to sharing their voice. I think it's because our voices are such powerful tools that somewhere in society, It's in service to someone that we not be speaking our truth. Now, you can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I do believe that the less that each of us as individuals contributes our unique voice to this universal song, there's somebody that benefits. But I also believe that we are at a time of awakening. We're at a time of transformation where what worked before isn't working now. Some people call it the new earth. You can call it whatever you want. But it's a time where everyone's voice matters and is being asked to be shared. And so even though we've heard the story, like your voice isn't good enough, so many people in chorus class, be quiet. I was rejected from my chorus class. Many kids at tables, like there used to be a toxic phrase that parents would say around like children are meant to be seen, not heard. There's a lot of different phrases and stories and different experiences that lead people to believe that their voice isn't worthy. On a serious tone, for women, a lot of women are told that they should not use their voice if they want to be accepted in society, if they want a man to like them, right? And so a lot of us shut down our voices there. And so there's different aspects of life where we're told to shut down. And the way to contradict that is first by acknowledging that it's a truth, that our voices we have shut down our own voices, and that it's okay because we used that as a protective mechanism because we thought it would serve us to some degree. My personal belief is that it's such a primal desire to belong, to be loved, to be accepted, and to share honestly sometimes would mean being rejected or having to leave a situation. And so whatever stories we created to keep ourselves safe and to allow ourselves to belong existed for a reason and served us till now. And then with that acknowledgement and that understanding, we can shift into what's the story we want to create. Personally, I use the tool of soul songs because it bypasses the chatter and the conscious mind and gets right into the frequency of what gets to shift in our experience so that we can activate the voice.
That's great. Now, a lot of people can sing in the shower. They do that frequently. But when they're asked to sing in public, they feel like they're silenced, they're disconnected from their creativity. They just don't know what to say. What's the best place for them to start? How do they start liberating their own soul song?
So it's funny because I mostly work with people by finding their soul song for them. And then in community, helping people to find the soul song together. Recently, I was reflecting on what would it mean for people to find it for themselves. And I'm still noodling on this one, but here's what I've got so far. And I'm really curious for our BrainTap family to test it out and let me know how it goes. Frequency is all around us. And I believe what stops us from hearing our soul song is a lack of trust. One, and also a lack of believing it's possible too. So to start, it's to say, I believe this is possible for me, and I'm going to trust whatever comes through that it's perfect. I think a lot of us are also, myself included, really concerned on how is it going to sound. Is it going to sound pretty? Is it going to sound good? And so to also set an intention to let go of whatever it's going to sound like, the result, and just to practice and to play and to be okay with wherever it's going in that moment. Okay. From there, once we kind of set this intention, start humming. Just start to hum or sing a note. And this can be on your own. These are tools I'm giving you for on your own. Obviously, a great way to do this is come to Voices, come work with me. Like, of course, we're going to help you. But if you want to do this on your own, start humming. And then allow the hum to go somewhere. And the way you do that is by trusting yourself. And then listening, not just to what you're doing, but can you start to hear what the world wants you to create? So, philosophical moment here. I believe that we're constantly talking with something bigger than ourselves. I'll call it the divine, and I believe that music is the language through which we communicate. The yogis and the sages back in the day would go and meditate in what we call the field. Maybe some people who are familiar with Joe Dispenza's work would call it the 5D, but they would go and they would commune with the divine. And it was a different dimension. So when they come back to this third dimension, to this reality we're experiencing, it's hard to exactly translate what was happening there because it's a totally different realm. But when they came back, their best attempt at translating that experience was through mantra or song and sound. And so music has always been used, whether it's Icaros in different indigenous traditions working with ayahuasca, or it's these mantras, it's always been used as a way to commune with the divine. And so as one is finding their soul song, the invitation is to listen to what's around you because there's constantly music being sung. And I have a song called Grandmother's Song, which was the first song I ever wrote. And it's about if we get really quiet, the grandmother is always singing to us and always sharing your song with you. And that was before I knew what I was doing with soul songs. Like these songs have been coming through and this message has been coming through that if we listen, we take a moment and get quiet, set the intention and believe that it's possible, the universe will sing the song to us. And so if you allow yourself to hum and follow where it goes, you can trust that that's your song right now.
Most people don't know that Mozart, when he asked how did he write these symphonies, he said he didn't write them, he transcribed them.
That's right.
He listened to the music of the spheres and record those songs and put them down. So just like the scientists knew that every cell vibrates and has a tone or a
Yes.
frequency, the planet has a frequency, the solar system has a frequency. There's music going on everywhere because music is math too. So as we think about those things, so you talk a lot about music being a mirror for life. And I know we walk around with these cell phones and a lot of people just use them to make calls, but they could actually set their frequency for their everyday life using their phone, but some people still listen to the radio and let them choose the songs they're listening to. So when you talk to someone about using it as a mirror for life, what do you mean?
Similar to how it's a metaphor for life, I can listen to music now and notice how it's making me feel. And then notice what that brings alive for me in terms of something that I get to work through or present into the world. And it's another magnifying glass to look and learn about ourselves. That is what I mean when I say it's a mirror. And it's also what's resonating with us is a reflection of where we are in life, because everything is frequency. And I love what you said about Mozart. I genuinely believe that every song that ever has or ever will be written exists in the ether. It exists on these frequency waves, and it's begging for us to hear it and experience it in the 3D. And I know a lot of different artists talk about this, but as artists, we're antenna, right? We're just tuning into the frequency of that radio station. And so you brought up, like, people listen to the radio station and let it determine what they listen to. We have the opportunity to tune our own frequencies, to listen to what that divine conversation is that wants to be had with us, and then to share it. And so music is one of those languages through which we can understand what's happening around us, what the divine is co-creating through us. And so as musicians and artists in life imitates art, imitating life, that whole saying, we have the opportunity to tune in to and co-create with the world around us. And let me just actually take a second to make that super applicable. Like, this isn't just some esoteric woo-woo thing. In a team, for example, there's individual contributors to the team. There's also a larger team goal, right? And so we're moving towards this goal, but if somebody's out of alignment with what that team goal is, they're going to start creating like dissonance, and this is again using music as a metaphor for life, but they're going to create some level of dissonance in the team and distraction, and it's going to pull you off course from that goal. But when the team is harmonizing together, they can actually start to listen to what's collectively needed to get to that goal. That goal in life is your purpose. What are you here to create or put into the world? On a team, it's that team vision or whatever you're creating. And so in teams, we're co-creating music all the time. And how do we harmonize with each other? How do we listen first to ourselves? What do I get to contribute right now? What would it mean for me to be in alignment? What's my voice get to contribute? Then what are other people doing? How do I harmonize with them? And then where does the larger vision, the divine, the field want this to go so that we can collectively move towards something bigger? And yeah, so I love looking at it from a really practical perspective too.
One thing again, in neuroscience in September of 2025, MIT came out with a study that showed the human thought travels 10,000 miles from the person who had that thought. So that means when you have a thought, it goes out into, and they said it goes into a web of information. And they're saying it's kind of like the web. And so these are concepts that were in, metaphysics. Now or in spiritual literature, but now we're finding out in neuroscience it's true. So those thoughts are out there. So the thoughts you're thinking it's just like a radio station. You're tuning into it and you're picking up that broadcast. You can become the broadcasting station and getting people to tune yourself. So how do people know when they're out of tune, or what you call misalignment, or how do they detune back into that? I mean, what do they start to feel in their body or in their minds, or how do they know they're out of tune?
So I think the first sign of being out of tune is frustration for a lot of people, or like feeling like you're up against it. A lot of us in the spiritual world, for example, will come up against similar themes very often. That will repeat over our lifetimes. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. Like oftentimes we're here to learn certain things, and there's just different flavors of that similar theme that we're learning in different experiences. But when we continue to have the thought like, when is it going to be enough? When am I going to learn that thing? Or when is life going to start working for me? These are, in my experiences, signs that something's out of alignment. Mm-hmm. It's also possible that it's a mindset shift that gets to happen, but that's where we can use music to start to shift the mind to realize it's all happening for us, right? But those are signs that maybe something's out of alignment when I'm feeling like I keep coming up against the same thing and it's not moving forward.
Yeah. The listeners might not have heard me say this before, but they did a test during COVID. And they looked at people that looked at COVID as a threat or a challenge. We can measure the photon exchange in the cellular level. You are giving off 440 to 850 nanometer light all the time. We just can't see it with the naked eye. So, but that's how we see you. We're seeing that corona discharge. And so that's happening. Now, if the person looked at COVID as a threat, they actually produce 200 times less light at the cellular level. Talk about tuning your frequency. So you want to look at life as a challenge rather than a threat. Like you said, tune into your victory song, not your pity party, because the pity party is draining your energy. It's robbing you of that. So a lot of people, again, their voice, they don't look at it as an instrument for health and healing, which it is. You call it their medicine. How do you get somebody past the fact that you don't want them to be a gold star or a performing artist or something like that? They don't have to sell 1 million copies. This is for them personally. This is for you personally. And it's some of the most inexpensive therapy you can give yourself. And you can do it whenever you're alone. And if you feel proud and loud, you can do it in front of your family and friends. So how do you get them past that?
I actually usually start by focusing out, and then I come back into the individual. So I usually start by reminding people that you're here not just for yourself, but to have an impact in this world on others. And you'll never, ever know the end of the ripples that you're putting into the world. And so to not share your song, to not share your voice is selfish, because you were put here to support the elevation of this world. And if anyone's watching this podcast or listening, you're here with a big purpose. I know that because everything is frequency. So if you're resonating at the frequency of this podcast, you have a big message to share with the world, and you're here to help other people. And so to hold that message back is out of alignment and integrity with why you chose to come in here in the first place. So that's the first place I usually start, is to say you holding your gifts and your message back and your voice back is selfish.
It's cultural, right? It's in our DNA actually, because there's no ancient culture that we didn't work as hard. By 2:00 we were done for the day. We were hunting and gathering. We'd head back to the tribe. We'd take our nap. We'd get up, and then we would share the knowledge of the day. We'd have a download for the
Right.
community. We might be singing, we might be dancing, but we're going to have that fire going, and it's going to downregulate our nervous system. They're
Yes.
changing the frequency. They knew it even back then. Today, too many people are looking at their television to change their frequency instead of using their own voice and their own biology, because that's the most powerful.
Oh my God, storytelling was a huge part of community, right? Coming together, and there's different studies, and I'm going to butcher it right now because I don't know the exact statistics, but there were so many studies about longevity being the direct result of people who could lower their stress by getting together with friends and chatting, and so
There was a study done on dementia, 38% less chance of Alzheimer's if you have a community in which you communicate with. You know,
right. It's all voice, and whether or not we're singing or we're sharing by expressing a story, to be able to communicate and put your frequency into the world. And this is where I believe community is the most important thing, which is why the voices, the course we're doing, is a community, not just a course. Because everybody that you come in contact with, I think of it like shamanically. We were contracted. We decided that we would all come in contact with each other. And so we contracted to meet each other. So everyone is your teacher. Everyone has medicine or something to share with you. And the same is true for you with them. And so the more that we each share our medicine with the world, we also receive and create spaciousness to bring in what other people have to share with us. And that supports our nervous systems. It supports our sense of belonging, which then allows us to create. And I believe we're all co-creators here. And if we're not creating, what are we doing?
right. Yeah, exactly right. I mean, the green zone, which is pretty well publicized now, they say that all the green zones have that one thing in common. There was community. They would get together and they would talk, and they would have not just online. I mean, online's fine, but you got to get, you want to have somebody you can call at 4 a.m. if you got a flat tire. They're going to come and help you.
Yep.
Somebody who's a
Yep.
real friend. So we talk about not rising alone. It's very hard in our
Yeah.
world. Isolation, actually, they say, is the reason for all the addiction. So if we can get rid of isolation, we get rid of a lot of the addictive personalities that are out there, because they're looking for something to connect to, and the addictive substance becomes that thing. So when we create other relationships and things like that. So tell us again about your course, how people can join you. We're going to put the links down below, but tell us a little bit about what they're going to learn again, just a little refresher.
Yeah. So in voices, this is all about finding your true voice, your message, because now more than ever, it is needed in the world. And it's coming into community with other people who are here to shift paradigms, who also have powerful messages, to remember you're not alone. So the truth is that many of us feel, especially if we have a big purpose, like the weight of the world is on our shoulders and nobody gets us. How many incredible spiritual people do you know that feel like they're alone in the world? Their families don't understand them, or they can't find other people who get them. And so now is a time to recognize you're not alone. You were never meant to do this alone. You were never meant to be on this journey of sharing your message by yourself. And so we're bringing people together who have a big message, a big vision, to activate your voice, because even if you're sharing your message somehow, if you know you're not having the biggest impact that you're here to have, it's because something's out of alignment, something's out of frequency. And so you asked that question before, how do you know? It's because you're not having the impact that you know you could have. And so even if you're reaching thousands of people right now, you should be reaching millions of people. Do you know what I mean? So if you are not having that impact that you know you're here to have, you get to be supported in a community of people who are rising together to align to your unique frequency, so you can start to hear your message even more clearly, and then share it into the world at a frequency that calls in your people, calls in the support, the experiences, the opportunities to get your message into the world. And so we'll be doing that by meeting over 6 weeks, once a week. We'll be finding a community soul song each week to tune and retune us, as we also explore concepts of what's holding us back from our own experiences, the limiting beliefs that we've created, as well as doing some work on an energetic level with our ancestral lineage and those that are to come, and then working towards the future of what's our message, how are we creating it and sharing it in the world confidently. So it's not only the course online, We'll also have the replays in the BrainTap app with the extra algorithm behind them to really embody the experiences we're working through. And then people have an opportunity to work with me one-on-one to hear their soul song personally, as well as work through on an energetic level some of these themes that are holding us back.
That's great. And Marni, I want to thank you for sharing this with Brain Fitness Nation, and we're going to put all your links below. If you liked what she said, which I did, and you want to like and share this, everyone should be opening up and doing their song. Just like I say, everybody has a book within them too. Even if nobody else reads it, but your grandkids or whoever comes after you, they should hear your story. So we're going to she's on social media. She's on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. Most of them is marnimae.com/Spotify. You can go to YouTube at sisters.divine. You can see some of her music there. It's fantastic. And then Facebook, she's got sisters.divine.band. But we'll have these links below. Wherever you watched or listened to this podcast, we'll have those links there. And then tune in, find out a little bit more about voices. It's going to be an exciting time activating through her method of activating our soul song, but also integrating that with BrainTap. So thanks again, Marni, for being here.
Thank you so much. And voices is marnimae.com/voices.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you for having me. What a special treat. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So BrainTap Nation, here we are, another podcast down. We need to share this and like this to the world. Get it out to everyone you know. I'm on a mission to better 1 billion brains. So if you're not a BrainTap user right now, head on over to the link below of this podcast. Click on the link. You get 14 days free. You're not going to get charged to that 15th day. So try it for 14 days. If you like it, like most of our people, 70% of the people that download that app will keep playing that app, and they'll play it 27 times a month because it gets them results in the morning with SMR, in the afternoon with what we call a reboot session, and in the evening for a reset. Getting you the deep sleep you need, getting you the rest and relaxation. So check it out over there. And we'll look forward to the next podcast where we'll also bring you someone who's going to help you to unlock your brain's full potential and your physiology so you can live the life that you were destined to live, not the one you're stuck with. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to better 1 billion brains. Follow at Dr. Patrick Porter on social media for updates, and remember to practice brain fitness every day.